I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, so the weather is practically, it's actually a little bit cooler here than it is over there. It's also a dry heat, so it's not much different. It's pretty much the same. I've always been the numbers guy. I'm the guy that like figures out, does like the point systems, figures out like the most efficient way to be able to win in a competition. All of that is data correlation. You know, I look at the point values, I look at the number of people, what they're expected to average. So the new point system came out. The first thing I did is I took 100 matches worth of data and I ran them through the new point system. Being able to look at numbers and then turn that into an advantage is where it comes in handy. My name is Alex Crespo, also known as Senshu in game. I'm the manager for the Impact team for H1Z1 Pro League. I've been doing esports and gaming for probably over 20 years. I had my first Twin Galaxies interview before Blood was even born. I think the way of a few people have described my approach to it is very similar to like a high school football coach, where you know, if you make a mistake, I almost make you do laps, or you know, to kind of make sure that you don't make that mistake again. I constantly remind them, you know, like, hey, you need to do this. Hey, you need to do this. So that way they build up, you know, one, like the muscle memory, and two, it's constantly in their head, like the stuff that they need to improve on. When I started in esports, which was in the late 90s, so long time ago, there was almost no recognition, right? Like the top players back then, it was like what I played in was like Street Fighter and the fighting games. Like the top players, we would meet in IRC and we would chat. It was just a chat room that we would all talk and talk strategy in. And if you went to a big tournament and won, then sometimes there'd be like a tape that people would have, like a VHS tape that they would pass along and people would watch it, and those were like really hard to come by. Or they would be like a 1 or 2 page article in a magazine, typically like tips, tricks, or gameplay, that would just talk about the tournament and like the characters that people use, and that was it, right? There wasn't like a ton of recognition. There wasn't big streams, where now it's this huge thing where they have arenas and, you know, like people make a ton of money off of it, and they're kind of treated like superstars. It's amazing to see it grow, and it's something where, you know, when I was these guys' age, I dreamed about. You know, I was like, oh, someday it's going to be big. Someday it's going to be on the ESPN and it's going to be on TV.
Let's kick this off with a good match.
I played primarily fighting games, right? And I was pretty good at them. The game that I was actually really good at, that was also very popular, was called Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I won like a big state championship in Arizona, and I felt like I had a good shot of, you know, competing with some of the people in California. California has always had kind of some of the best fighting game competition in the country, probably even the world. And unfortunately, at the same time, my mom got sick with cancer, and it had been something that she had, you know, had fought, and then we thought it went away, and then all of a sudden it came back with like a fury. In a very short period of time, she went from being sick to passing away. My stepdad and I never had the best of relationships, so literally the day that my mom passed away, I came back home, the locks were changed, all my stuff was in the garbage. And I went from having this pretty cushy life where I had like a small job, and all I had to do is like essentially pay from one tournament to another and then hope that I made enough money in the tournament to be able to go to the next, to like almost like being homeless. And that was kind of the end of my my fighting game career, because I just, you know, life took over. Three years ago, a friend of mine got me this game called H1Z1 for Christmas, and I just kind of kept playing it. This is before the Battle Royale part of it even came out, and I felt like I was pretty good at it. I was killing a lot of people, and like I felt like a good understanding of it. But then the Battle Royale came out, and the first game that I played, I got third. And I just remember the rush of like trying to stay away from the gas and like trying to find people, and you know, like this. And the first version of the Battle Royale was a mess. There was no map. There was no like thing that told you how to get out of the gas. It was just like complete chaos. But it was fun. I met CBK Flame, and we started playing together. I got to play with all of these guys in teams. We did pretty well. Last year, I unfortunately went on a trip to a Gears of War event. I ended up getting an infection in my leg, and I ended up in the hospital for 2 months. There for a while, they actually thought they might even have to cut off my leg. I had to like have a lot of surgeries, had to like relearn to walk again. But one of the things that happened in one of the procedures is they hit one of the nerves in my arm. And for the longest time, I had like no feeling on that arm. Like I could move it and stuff, but it was just tingly all the time. And even now, I still don't have feeling in these 3 fingers. And these are the fingers that you need for controlling your movement and changing weapons. If you can't feel the keys, it's kind of hard to be very accurate, you know. Like I would pull out the wrong gun all the time, or I would just completely hit a key that didn't do anything. When I went to TwitchCon, I made it to the Challengers Finals. I ran into it's Spotty, the guy that won the Challengers. And then I hit the key to pull out my shotgun, but I ended up pulling out my AK. And I still got him to 10% health, but I think if I would have had the shotgun, I had to jump on him, so I would have gotten the kill. But I didn't, right? And then at that point, it really hit me like, you can't play at a top level with 3 fingers that don't really work that well. But I still wanted to be part of it, so knew the game well, decided that, you know, at that point coaching was the right way. Started looking for teams that needed to coach, they needed some guidance, and kind of went from there.